People are about as productive as they are at home as they are in the office. The only difference is they don't have this commute. And so that can't really be it, because Amazon is, supposedly a data-driven company. And John McBride on Twitter made an interesting post about this. He says he's a former AWS employee, Amazon Web Services, and his take is that it comes down to taxes and economics. So this could actually be a tax story, David. It also might just be that Amazon overhired during COVID, like a lot of these tech companies. They just hired and hired and hired. Money was cheap, easy to do it. And now pulling people back to the office is just a way to get them to quit. So you don't have to do layoffs.
Which has been proven over. A couple companies have done this now.
We've talked about this in the past, right? That's very clear that companies are doing this. You don't have to pay severance. It's better in the press. But why could Amazon be doing this? So this Twitter poster, John McBride, he says that Amazon gets tax breaks for having offices, all over the country in these metro areas, right? And so they need people to keep coming into the office to get the tax breaks. And so if they don't have people coming back in, they will lose those tax breaks. And he says basically Amazon Web Services is really actually a very thin margin business. So that makes a difference. So that's his theory. And I wonder if that's true. I would love to know how significant these tax breaks are for having these physical offices. See, because Amazon gets the benefit, but the employees bear the cost of the commutes.
But I'm assuming when they do these deals with the commerce departments of these cities and states that it's tied to the building, right? Or is it tied to people physically working in the building? I don't know.
The whole point of having the building is so that people come into the building and spend money and live in your city, right? Why would you give a tax break to Amazon for having an empty office? It's not helping you, and they've moved all out to the suburbs. They've moved to different states. You're not going to give Amazon that tax break anymore. So this really could be a tax story. I don't think it has anything to do with productivity. I believe that it's either a net zero impact or that remote workers are actually more productive, because all the people that I know that work remotely say that it is far more productive to be working at home most of the time. And yes, you want to see your team, but you can do that very infrequently, as little as once a month, and you can still be very productive. And they're not saying this to me because they're trying to justify their situation. This is just us having a conversation about it, right? They'd be honest with me if they weren't. It's just convenient.
Well, there's a disconnect then, because what we understand about remote work, and you just brought this up, are there other variables, possibly taxes, that are controlling these decisions? So KPMG had their 2024 CEO Outlook. And so they surveyed 1,325 global CFOs. These are companies doing $500 million plus. Right?
Okay, these are big companies.
Big companies. 83% of these CEOs predict a full return to the office in the next 3 years. This is up from 60% last year. So do they know something, these CEOs, that the rest of us don't know, or are they just that disconnected?
I think they're that disconnected, because I think when you get to that level in your career, these guys don't understand how to work remotely. They've always been in an office. They like the office. You don't get to the C-suite if you don't like being in the C-suite. And for them, a lot of their job does involve this camaraderie, the need to be around the other execs. That's very important. But my argument is, don't make everyone come back to the office. Just go get a nice office for the C-suite. And they can all party in the office and have water cooler conversations and whatever else it is that they do, play,
they can use this as take advantage to have bigger offices.
Yeah.
They could even expand.
They could have really nice executive retreats, basically. You could turn the office into an executive retreat center.
A resort.
And then invite employees to come in to meet with the execs, and the employees would be really happy to do it because they're basically staying at a resort, not commuting every day into an office.